If we look at cities nowadays, especially Russian cities, then we are confronted with one big problem, and that is that cities for a long time in Russia have been developing as planned cities, top-down cities, where the whole structure of the city has been in a way ordered by a central government. Now the situation is different because Russia is now in a market economy and cities are competing with each other. So they have to do their best to attract new residents, business investment and talent. Now the urban fabric of most Russian cities is very comparable and very similar. And this is where the industrial heritage comes into play. I think at the moment you can't call the cities post-industrial cities. They are cities in transition. They have to start developing a knowledge economy and they have to start attracting talent from elsewhere. And this is where the quality of the city is becoming more and more important. Of course, not everything is perfect in Kronstadt. At the moment it is quite disconnected from other parts of St. Petersburg and the wider region. That means that one would have to think of how to improve transport connections so that either people can live in Kronstadt and commute to St. Petersburg very quickly, or even one could think of establishing a local economy where people live and work here in Kronstadt. Well, just look around here. There is nature, there is old industrial buildings, there is buildings which are still in use, there's buildings which are empty. And all of those could actually provide a very nice and interesting environment to establish, for example, outdoor sports activities, to establish workspaces for new types of companies, to establish new types of living, to also establish new types of retail activity. I think in the development of industrial cities, we often have neglected the importance of recreation and the importance of nature, and also the importance of harmonizing nature with the urban environment. And I see that there is a lot of potential in these areas. If we look around here, one could easily imagine to develop those into new types of green spaces within a city, which you traditionally don't find in such a fabric. This could be places where cultural events take place. This could be places where people do sports. This is people where people can gather informally. These are places where a lot of different activities, a sort of active park in a post-industrial landscape could emerge. I think one can imagine three basic scenarios. One, trying to develop Kronstadt as an island as it has for a long time and developing a sort of local economy. Second scenario could be a more touristic scenario and a more consumer-oriented scenario where the aim could be to bring as many people into Kronstadt from the outside as possible. And a third one could be what I would call a network scenario where people, for example, live in Kronstadt and work in St. Petersburg, or live in St. Petersburg and work in Kronstadt or in other places in the region. If we talk about local economy, there is numerous artist villages and artist towns all around the globe where artists actually develop the local economy and produce and sell their products locally. In Soho in New York, in Camden in London, or with Factory 798 in Beijing. Kronstadt is an island, and there is a lot of examples of islands in the world which have successfully managed to develop their own identity. Governor's Island in New York, which is a programmed cultural park. Mainau in Germany, which is a big flower exhibition. Venice, which in its entirety is actually a tourist destination. And there's many other examples which you could think of. You could think of making it basically an island which is about shopping. You could think of it as an island which is about culture only. You could think of it as an island which is a big recreational facility or a sort of Kurort for the elderly. All of those could either be in a sort of single use or they could be mixed with each other, which allows to develop a whole bunch of different identities which are all confined within the boundaries of an island. And there's where the beauty lies in actually starting a project on an island.